Yo, what's up, and welcome to video number 5 in a series of 5. This is the last video on how to research corporations, focusing specifically on annual reports and 10K reports, documents put out by publicly traded corporations. In this video, we're going to focus on CNH Industrial because there's workers in Racine, Wisconsin and in Iowa which could use our solidarity and could potentially benefit from some of the information in this video. So without further ado, let's go and get right into it. CNH Industrial Investor Relations. All right. If you haven't seen the other videos, I do recommend you watch video number 1. But in case you just hopping on right now for the first time, I always start with the investor relations page. There's a ton of information on here, information about finances, stock information, debt, analyst coverage, media, news stories, contacts, just all types of information on here, different filings with government agencies. So without further ado though, let's keep moving forward. We're looking for the annual report this time. All right, so let's click on financial information. I just happen to know that because I've already searched for it and trying to save us some time on this video. Then go ahead and click on annual reports. And again, all publicly traded corporations have annual reports. So it doesn't matter if it's CNH or, United Airlines or BNSF or, whatever corporation you're looking for. If it's publicly traded, it's going to have an annual report and 10K report. All right. And there it is, the 2021 annual report, EU, because it was put together in the EU. Let's go ahead and click on the PDF so we can check it out. There's our annual report. Let's click it, make it a little bigger for the sake of my eyes. And again, if you saw video number 1, you saw that I offer a bunch of keywords to look for in the annual reports and the 10K reports. Words that could speak to potential tactics in the workplace, or words that speak to agitational material. So agitational material as in like injustices in the workplace, or contradictions in the workplace, or exploitation in the workplace. Injustices or contradictions or agitational pieces that could be used to both educate and organize the rank and file. So educate, agitate, organize the rank and file with that material. Anyway, one of the suggestions that I had was the name of a city or a place. In this case, let's put in Racine, because that's where things are happening right now, okay? And when you look for Racine and the annual report, you come into this. You come into a list. What is it exactly? Let's scroll up a little bit and see. So it's plants and manufacturing processes for CNH Industrial. And then it states right off the bat, as of December 31st, 2021, CNH owns 70 manufacturing facilities. We also own other significant properties, including spare parts depots, research laboratories, test tracks, warehouses, and office buildings. So the rest you can read on your own, but that's already some useful information, right? So let's go down, and apparently they have manufacturing facilities in Italy, the United States, France, Brazil, China, Belgium, India, Poland, and other places, Argentina, Austria, Australia, Canada, Mexico, Russia. So apparently they have facilities all over the place, and this, by sheer nature of these workers all working for the same corporation, already opens up the doors to the potential of international solidarity. International solidarity, that's something that's not practiced enough in the labor movement right now, and it's concerning, it's alarming, and I'm going to use this platform to put this out there. Here, I'm going to use the case of the UAW specifically, because the UAW came into being when white workers, finally stood shoulder to shoulder with black workers in the age of segregated communities, in the age of segregated workplaces. When white workers finally stood shoulder to shoulder with black workers, that's when the UAW was born and started to grow. All right, and now in the age of globalized capitalism, same deal. Our unions, our labor movements are going to be stronger if we seek out and extend international solidarity. So in this case, We can reach out to workers in Italy. We can reach out to workers in France, Brazil, China, anywhere, where CNH has a presence, right? But there's also the whole line of production, going all the way back to the raw materials that are used in Racine. For instance, for the tractor tires, which are made of rubber. Who is the biggest producer of rubber on the planet? Thailand. So it would be a matter of reaching out to Thai rubber workers, and seeing if that solidarity can be created, if it makes sense, if it affects production, if it affects profits. That's just a crude example, but you get what I'm saying. That's part of trying to find the jugulars along the line of production, right? So that's the first instance of Racine, and that's a little bit, speaking a little bit to the significance of that information. Click on it again. The next instance of Racine is here under collective bargaining, and it talks about how here in the United States, unions represent a small portion of our production and maintenance employees. The collective bargaining agreement, which is the union contract for folks who may be new to this, the union contract with the United Auto Workers, which represents approximately 950 hourly production and maintenance employees in Burlington, Iowa, and Racine, Wisconsin, continues through April 30th, 2022. All right, good information to know, good information to have. Also the collective bargaining agreement with the International Association of Machinists, which represents approximately 600 of our employees in Fargo, North Dakota, continues through April 28th, 2024. Always useful to look at this information to see where contracts end, when they expire, if any worker action can be coordinated as a result of the expiration dates of union contracts and the potential to strike. All right, so those dates are worth looking at for that reason. Also, another thing that caught my attention in this particular document is this. In Italy, approximately 17,000 CNH industrial employees are covered by a collective labor agreement that continues through December 31st, 2022. That's right around the corner. And approximately 440 CNH industrial managers are covered by the 2016 collective bargaining agreement extended on October 21st, 2020 through December 31st, 2022. So the 17,000 industrial employees whose contract expires December 31st, what's up with that? Are they in a position where they can strike, or do they want to strike? Labor laws are different. Labor laws are different in Italy, but things are happening in Racine, so maybe something worth looking at, right? So that's the type of cool information that you can get when you plug in, a location. All right. Let's see. Final thing that I thought was also interesting was this. This is the third instance of Racine, and it brought us here to this list. Apparently, this is a list of subsidiaries of CNH. Subsidiary is a company that is owned by CNH, but kind of maintains its independence somehow. So here, we're seeing the different locations, the different countries, the different cities where these subsidiaries are based out of, along with other information that we won't get into right now. But here's Racine, and the subsidiary in town is Raven Industries. Might be worth knowing. Might be worth considering for tactics. Okay, so now let's try another word. All right, let's try Wine. Scott Wine is the CEO of CNH Industrial, and let's just see what his name pops up when we search through this annual report using his last name. All right, these are references to actual drinking wine, so won't mess with that. I'm not going to get into those charts. There's specific things I want to show you. So here we have a biography of Scott Wine. All the things that he's done, these are always really boring. These are always, I'm not impressed, but either way, these are all the things that Scott Wine has done and the places he's worked at in his charmed life. All right, excuse me. Same thing with the other directors, and also I wanted to point this out. Howard W. Buffett sits on the board of directors for CNH. Now, that is the grandson of the Nebraska billionaire and owner of BNSF, the railway company, Warren Buffett. So, this is, I think, another good agitational piece because, come on, man, it's like, it's like living under dynasty capitalism or something like. Well, I mean, that's part of the nature of capitalism, I guess, is that you just inherit wealth. But it's just an agitational piece, I'll say that, and it speaks for the ability to connect the different struggles at CNH and with the railway workers, in my opinion, if you agitate and educate enough around these questions. So, without getting into it further, here's each CEO's or each director's biography. Sometimes it's worth looking at. Sometimes, they didn't do such a good job at the last places they've been at. So, sometimes it's worth looking into each person individually and researching each director or manager individually. All right, so let's keep it moving though. A couple of more things I want to show you. Here's just a mention of how CNH really bent over backwards to hire Scott Wine. Why, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what makes him so special, but they tell you here, that they really kind of paid him the most that they could to bring him in. I'm guessing maybe it's his business connections or something like that. Here, let's keep going. Here we see also that Mr. Wine purchased 200,000 shares of CNH stock, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. It's worth discussing a little bit. But here, I do want to show you something in particular. Well, this is one of the things. For Mr. Wine, base salary is $1.7 million. And again, they go into an explanation as to why he's so valuable to the company and how they bent over backwards to, pay him the most they could. All right, this is what I wanted to show you. So this is all the directors and all their compensation for these years. So Scott Wine, as we see again, $1.7 million. And here's Warren Buffett, his compensation, $128,000. So, this is just, again, useful information, having this list, maybe looking into each person individually, seeing who they are, their political connections, their work histories. Sometimes it's useful information that could be used for tactics. Let's see what else we have. Yes. Okay, so as far as share ownership, the reason I wanted to come back to this is because this also speaks to the income of a CEO. So, when they have shares, we already saw that he gets paid $1.7 million a year as his base salary. But when they have shares, this is more income, right? The income of ownership, the abstract world of capitalism where owning a share of a corporation makes you entitled to the profits that the workers created, It's a weird abstract world, but here we are. And as a result of that, every quarter, so every 3 months, people who own shares in a corporation get dividends. In other words, they get a payout, a piece of the profit for owning those shares. So let's just play with the number and keep it real simple. Let's say that dividends for CNH are $1, $1 per share, I should say. So every 3 months, if it stays at $1 per share, every 3 months, Scott Wine's going to get $200,000 on top of his base salary. So, every 3 months times 4 times in a year, just to keep it at a yearly, measurement, that's $800,000. And again, I'm just playing with these numbers off the top of my head, on top of the base salary that he has. And, that gives you a better idea of what a CEO's salary actually is. So, I hope this has been helpful. I will continue to do more of these videos, and thank you for watching so far.